The United States has never won a World Cup. In 2026, they may never get a better chance. Home soil, a hungry squad, an elite European manager. And after one game, a statement that the rest of the world was not expecting. This is what to expect from the USA at the 2026 World Cup. And based on what we've already seen, it's going to be a very interesting summer. And before anyone in the comments says it, yes, I know what you're thinking. They'll bottle it. They always bottle it. They'll lose to some team nobody's heard of and go home embarrassed. I've heard it. Every tournament, every cycle. The doubt is always there. But here's the thing. This time feels genuinely different, and I don't say that lightly. This is the first World Cup on American soil since 1994. The first time in 32 years that the United States gets to host the greatest sporting event on the planet. And this squad, this specific group of players, under this specific manager, might be the most complete the USMNT has ever put together. So let's break it all down. The good, the bad, the concerns, and why, when all is said and done, I genuinely believe this team can do something special. The home advantage. Let's start with context because it matters enormously. The USA qualified automatically as a co-host alongside Canada and Mexico, skipping the qualifying cycle entirely. Now some people want to use that against them. They didn't even have to earn it. But every host nation in World Cup history has gotten that same automatic berth. And historically, host nations don't just participate, they perform. The crowd, the familiarity, the reduced travel, the energy of your own country watching. These things are real and measurable advantages. 32 years ago on home soil, the United States reached the round of 16 in front of packed stadiums and a country that was just waking up to football. Now imagine what happens when a generation of Americans who grew up watching Pulisic, McKennie and Adams, players who built their careers in the best leagues in the world, get to do it in front of their own people. That's not just an advantage, that's a statement waiting to be made. Now, let me ask you a question. From where are you watching? And what content do you want to watch? Answer it in the comments. We will reply to all comments and finally subscribe to us. Let's dive in. The squad, youth, experience and the right blend. Mauricio Pochettino has assembled a 26-man squad with an average age of around 26 years old at the opening match. But youth here doesn't mean inexperienced. This roster blends experienced World Cup veterans with a large group of first-time tournament players. That's a genuinely healthy balance of players who know what tournament pressure feels like and hungry new faces with something to prove. The 2022 squad gave Americans a real reason to believe again. They went to Qatar, navigated a brutal group, beat Iran when it mattered most, and pushed the Netherlands hard in the knockout stage before going out. That experience doesn't disappear. It lives in the squad. And now those same players come back older, sharper, and playing at a higher level than they were 4 years ago. Some of them have been here before. They know what it costs. And the newcomers are desperate to find out. The manager. Pochettino changes everything. This is where things get really interesting. Mauricio Pochettino was appointed USA head coach in September 2024. And if you know anything about his career, you know what he brings. This is a man who took Tottenham Hotspur to a Champions League final, who won Ligue 1 with Paris Saint-Germain, who managed at the very highest level of European club football for over a decade. He knows what elite looks like because he's lived it. And from day one, Pochettino made it clear. This squad is being built to win, not to participate. His system is a 4-3-3 built on high pressing, quick transitions and aggressive fullback play. He wants the ball won back in dangerous areas. He wants width, directness and relentless intensity. This isn't a team designed to sit in and absorb pressure. This is a team designed to make you uncomfortable from the first whistle. And crucially, like the best elite managers, Pochettino picks players for his system, not for politics. Pulisic's workload was carefully managed in the build-up to the World Cup, with Pochettino making the calculated decision to protect his most important player specifically for this moment. That's the decision-making of a manager who has a clear plan and the confidence to execute it regardless of outside noise. That kind of clarity at the top filters down through an entire squad. The system, how they actually play. So what does this team look like on the pitch? Tyler Adams anchors the midfield. Full stop. He is the engine of everything Pochettino wants to do. The pressing trigger, the defensive shield, the player who sets the intensity level from the first minute. When Adams is right, the whole structure functions. He was the 2022 World Cup captain for a reason, and even though veteran defender Tim Ream is one of the key leadership figures in the squad, Adams remains the heartbeat of this team. Out wide, Christian Pulisic and Tim Weah provide the directness and goal threat that makes the 4-3-3 dangerous. Pulisic in particular, drifting inside from the left, is one of the most difficult problems any defense at this tournament will have to solve. And then there are the fullbacks. Pochettino's system demands fullbacks who bomb forward relentlessly, who overlap and underlap, who turn defense into attack in seconds. Both Sergiño Dest and Anthony Robinson scored for the USA in pre-tournament friendlies. These are not defensive fullbacks sitting deep. These are genuine attacking threats, and in a system this aggressive, they can be the difference makers that opponents simply don't prepare for. Weston McKennie completes the midfield picture. Over a decade of international experience, heading to his second World Cup, 4 strong seasons at Juventus in Serie A behind him. McKennie was arguably the USA's best overall player in Qatar. In this system, with more license to arrive late into the box and more structure around him, he could be even more dangerous. Christian Pulisic, the main man. Let's talk properly about Christian Pulisic because everything flows through him. Over 80 caps, more than 30 international goals. The heartbeat of this squad's attacking identity. He is the player opponents game plan around. He is the player that changes the dynamic of every match he plays in. When Pulisic is on form, the United States are a genuinely different team. And Pochettino knows it. That's why he managed his workload so carefully in the months leading up to this tournament. He made the calculated decision to keep his best player fresh, sharp, and ready specifically for the World Cup stage. That kind of man management, prioritizing the biggest prize over the smaller ones, is exactly what separates elite coaches from good ones. The wildcards. The players who could change everything. Every deep World Cup run has players who weren't in the headline conversation, but ended up defining the tournament. The USA have a couple of fascinating candidates. Sebastian Berhalter brings something genuinely specific to this squad. His ability as a dead ball specialist, delivering dangerous corners and set pieces, is the kind of detail that decides tight knockout games. At tournament level, set pieces aren't a bonus, they're a weapon. Then there's Alejandro Zendejas, the Liga MX star who secured a late roster spot after a scorching finish with Club America. Late inclusions like Zendejas carry a particular energy, players who feel like they have something to prove, who arrive hungry, who can change a game off the bench when the opposition least expects it. And then there's Gio Reyna. His story alone deserves its own chapter. The injuries that complicated his career. The drama surrounding his 2022 World Cup role. The weight of expectation that has followed him for years will come back to him, because what he did in the opening match needs its own moment. The concerns. Let's be honest. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend this team is perfect, because they're not, and the concerns are real. The defensive record heading into this tournament was troubling. The USMNT conceded 2 or more goals in 4 consecutive matches and hadn't kept a clean sheet in months. That is not the form of a team with a watertight backline. And the defensive midfield depth behind Tyler Adams is genuinely thin. With Johnny Cardoso unavailable due to injury, if Adams picks up a knock or suspension, the cover thins out quickly. The omission of Diego Luna is the one that frustrated a lot of American fans. Despite widespread public support and strong performances in preparation windows, the breakout MLS star didn't make the cut. It's one of those squad construction debates that will either be forgotten immediately or feel very significant depending on how the tournament unfolds. And beyond personnel, there's the question of tournament experience at the elite level. Winning group games against decent opposition is one thing. Walking into a knockout tie against a battle-tested European or South American heavyweight is a completely different test. Pochettino's system will need near-perfect execution when those moments arrive. These are real concerns. Acknowledging them isn't pessimism, it's just honesty. But here's the thing about concerns. They only become problems if you let them. The group stage, the path forward. All three of the USA's group matches are on the West Coast, two at Los Angeles against Paraguay and Turkey, one in Seattle against Australia. Turkey presents the most challenging matchup in the group. They bring significant European pedigree and technical quality that will genuinely test the American defensive shape. This is not a team the USA can press into mistakes as easily as others. The Turkey game will tell us a great deal about what this team is actually capable of. Australia offers arguably the most favorable stylistic clash for the transition-heavy American game plan. And early projections position the USA as narrow favorites to top the group. The theory met reality. Now here's where the conversation changes, because everything we just discussed, the system, the pressing, the fullbacks, the Pulisic question, the defensive concerns, all of that was the theory, the setup, the expectation. Then the tournament actually started. And on match day 1 against Paraguay, the United States didn't just win. They sent a message, a 4-1 scoreline, a debut brace from Balogun, Pulisic pulling the strings in the first half exactly as advertised, 76 line-breaking passes, and Gio Reyna, a player carrying the weight of his own complicated World Cup story, scoring in stoppage time as if to write his redemption arc in real time. That's not a lucky result. That's a team that knew exactly what it was doing. The betting markets versus the reality. The betting markets have the USA as long shots to win the tournament outright, well down the board behind the European and South American contenders. And honestly, that's fine. Let France be the favorite. Let Spain and Argentina carry the weight of expectation. The USA have been written off before. The comments at every tournament say the same things. They'll bottle it. They're not ready. The gap is too big. But a 4-1 opening win, with that performance level, that pressing intensity, that attacking fluency, doesn't look like a team that's just happy to be here. So how far can they go? Here's the honest answer. My head says the quarterfinals are the realistic ceiling. The defensive vulnerabilities are real. The midfield depth question doesn't disappear. And at some point, if they go deep enough, they will meet a France or a Spain or an Argentina, teams that have been winning at this level for decades. But my heart says something different. My heart says that home soil does something to a team that you cannot fully quantify or prepare for. That 76,000 people in Los Angeles wheeling every single pass forward creates an energy that doesn't show up in any statistical model. That a squad this young, this athletic, this well-coached, playing in front of their own country at the one moment they've been building toward, that's not something you can just account for on a spreadsheet. The 4-1 win against Paraguay wasn't just a result, it was a signal. This USA team is not here to make up the numbers. They are not here to have a nice tournament and go home with some good memories. They are here because Pochettino came to this job with a plan, built a squad to execute it, and on the opening night of their home World Cup, that plan looked very, very real. So whether it's the quarterfinals or beyond, one thing I can tell you with complete confidence is this. This is the most exciting, the most dangerous, and the most genuinely believable United States men's national team we have seen at a World Cup in a generation. And the tournament has barely even started.